Hello and welcome to the channel. Thanks very much for joining me. As usual, I'll be giving a watch away from the list of people who make a comment. So if you like this watch, then make a comment and then check back later to see my replies, because one of my replies will be saying, do you want the watch? Now, there's a little bit of a story behind this particular watch. I started off with a 2824, a Netta 2824 movement. And I struggled with these movements, and now I know why, because I found my usual difficulties with getting the dial on, and I've subsequently found out that the feet on an NH35 built dial don't match the feet locations for the 2824 movement. So I tried, and it didn't work. And by then I'd sort of cut the wrong feet off, and I couldn't use the remaining feet for an NH35 movement. So in the end, I had to just replace the movement with something else and go again. So now here we are with the dial put onto an NH35 movement, and I'm about to put the logo on. It's a fairly simple process. It's just a case of peeling the logo from the sheet that you buy from AliExpress and positioning it at a 12 point, or just above the logo there. Now this hobby is often called Seiko modding. That's how I first heard of it. So quite a few of the dials you get back from AliExpress have got Seiko on them. Not all. I mean, like, I'm probably talking about maybe 10%. I don't really understand why they do that. I mean, Seiko is a good brand. I've got a Grand Seiko watch in my collection, so it's not like I don't rate Seiko, but I don't really want a proper brand on a watch that I'm building. I'm building them as just watches. They're not meant to be they're not meant to be sort of fake Seikos or fake Pateks, or they're homages. So anyway, it's got a Seiko logo on, so I've had to put my logo up above the top of it, but it looks okay, I think. It doesn't get in the way too much, I don't think. This particular dial, you can see how sparkly it is just in the edge of the picture there. I'm just turning the date at the moment. I think this dial is similar to one that Patek Philippe use. I've just changed the date there. You can see I'm a little bit behind. I've just changed the date, so I know the hands are on midnight. So now it's time to put the hour hand and the minute hand on. And with NH35s, it's really a pretty straightforward process. I mean, it's by far the easiest movement to work with. If you're just starting off on this hobby, I really, really strongly recommend that you start with an NH35 movement. They are just so reliable, and they're just so easy to work with. Yeah, look, I do other movements, but these are definitely the easiest ones. So there you've just seen me position the hands at 12 o'clock, and I'm about to press down with the hand presser, and then I'll rotate and check and everything. I'm just holding the end of the hand there with a bit of Rodico. If you don't know what Rodico is, it's a little bit of sort of blue putty stuff. It's really good for holding on to fine small things, and cleaning afterwards. It picks up dust and dirt and fingerprints and things on dials. So now I'm just moving the hands to check that all is well. They're not sort of bumping into each other, fouling each other. And I'm also checking that the date moves, of course. So putting it back to midnight now. Right, so it's on midnight, so now it's time for the next step. I'm going to show you a little bit more detail than normal on this, because this is the bit a lot of people find tricky, and I just want to go through it with some specific camera shots to try and show you what's involved in putting the second hand on. So first of all, I'm going to lift the movement onto a little sort of mini platform, a little table that I've got, which gets the movement up to eye level. I think it's really helpful if it's up to eye level. and then I'll start working on placing the second hand. So this is that little table I'm talking about. Now here I'm trying a fantastic new technique that one of my subscribers told me about. And basically you put a little bit of Rodico, I think I put too much on when I tried it, but I mean in future I'll put a bit less on, a tiny little bit of Rodico on the end of your hand presser. And then you put the second hand on the hand presser on the Rodico, so it sort of sticks to the Rodico. And my goodness, it is so much easier to direct the second hand to where you want it to go. So it's on the hand pusher, on the Rodico, and now I'm pressing down on the little cap, and on it goes. There you go. I'm just pressing down now. Now I didn't know it at the time, but I had the hand presser at a little bit of an angle, which meant I bent the second hand a little bit. But I'll come back to that issue a bit later on. I just want to show you a replay of that in more detail, because it's, you know, you've got the gist with that first shot, but now I want to show you with a really close-up view. This is the same thing, but with a different camera angle. And I'm going to come in now with the Rodico on the end of the hand presser, and I'm trying to put the cap of the second hand on that tiny little spike you can see coming out the pinion. And just missed it there, still missing it. Nearly. Now it's on, and I'm pressing. You see the angle? Unfortunately I've just bent the second hand a bit there, but that doesn't matter for now. My advice is, you know, keep the hand presser straight when you're doing it yourself. But basically it's on. At least I think it's on at this stage. It's not moving, but of course I haven't wound up the movement yet. I'm winding that now, and it's not moving. So now I'm thinking, what's wrong? Have I stuffed up yet again? Give it another wind, because I'm a slow learner. I don't realise that winding it's not doing the trick. Probably easier to see from this camera angle now. I'm just winding, pushing the winder in and winding it up and seeing if the second hand goes. I haven't at this stage noticed that it's a bit bent downwards, and you can see from the sort of wider shot the second hand is angled down slightly, and it's going to hit that minute hand, probably the hour hand as well. And here's me getting really, really close and trying to sort of push with a more even movement now, to try and sort of push it a bit further in and bend it back into the right shape. It's the same thing from a slightly different angle again. So it's a little bit deeper in, it's a little bit straighter. It's still not fixed, it's still going to foul on the minute hand. But optimistically, I'm still winding it up and hoping it's going to get past. And then I realise, no, it's not going to get past. So now what? I'm sort of wondering what to do. It's not moving. What's next? Okay, well, it is fixable. I'm gonna show you how I fixed it now. Almost show you. It's hard to get the camera shot of this. So I didn't realise I was now out of shot. But I've taken a little bit of it's a little sort of Bourguignon dial remover. It's quite stiff, and all I'm doing is just putting it under the second hand and just levering it up a little bit, trying to bend it back up a bit. Now, a dangerous game this, because if you do that and you go too far, you will of course snap the second hand. I've just blurred it out of shot there, but I did actually get it straight in the end with much patience and repeated little pushes upwards. And eventually it's still slightly out of shape, but it's just enough to clear the minute hand. Right, so thanks very much to Richard who showed me that technique. I'm going to use it that way from now on, all the time. Now it's time to put the case into the movement. put the movement into the case. And that's the little lever that you have to press to release the stem. You've got to get the stem out, of course, before you can put it in the movement. It'll just get in the way if you try and put it in. There it is. So now the stem's out and I've put it in the case. And now it's a case of putting the stem back in and seeing how much shorter I need to cut it to get it to go in. I've done that 2 or 3 times. I've spared you the purgatory of watching me in and out, in and out, in and out, and cutting the stem. You've got to do it very patiently and cut it bit by bit, because if you cut it too short, you've got to start again. Once I'm happy with the length of the stem, it's time to glue it. Use a little bit of Loctite, the blue Loctite, which is weak enough to break if you have to, but strong enough to hold things together. Obviously, you don't want to be gradually unwinding the crown from the stem as you're using the watch and moving the hands and things. So you put a little bit of the Loctite on the end of the stem, and then attach the crown like this. And then just wipe the excess glue off with a bit of tissue paper, like that. And you're done. Give that 15-20 minutes to set, and it won't accidentally unscrew when you're using it in the watch. So I normally put it back in the watch at this stage, just checking that everything's sort of centered and not touching the edges or anything. But I don't move the whole thing, because I want the glue to set before anything else happens. So now I've gone to the back of the watch, the back of the case, and I'm taking off the rubber gasket. And it's just a case of greasing it up a little bit with this silicone grease. These are cheapest chips from AliExpress. You just put a little bit of grease on. It helps keep the thing waterproof. These watches are generally not waterproof. I mean, I have done a video where I built a watch and tested it, and it was actually waterproof. But unless I've tested it, I wouldn't trust it. And with with the video I did, I think it's the one with the ingénieur in the title. With that one, I made sure I really put everything just absolutely tight down, airtight. That's the key. And these, I'm just doing, I'm using a rubber ball to tighten the back, not a tool. And it gets it tight enough for everyday wear, but I mean, no one's going to take a watch like this, into a swimming pool or even in the bath or anything. I mean, why would anyone take the risk? The other thing you've got to watch about these things, especially a bath or a shower, the heat, I'm told, makes you see the crown. Those crowns got a little gasket on them, because obviously that's another point where the water can get in, and the heat expands the rubber, and then water vapor gets in through the rubber, or water itself gets in through the rubber, and then you can have a little sort of cloud effect inside your watch, which is great fun. I promise you, not. So we're more or less done now. It's just a case of attaching the bracelet, which is a pretty straightforward thing, and then that'll be it. We'll be done. I've got my usual technique here. I've got this handy little tool, which I really recommend you get. It's an imitation of an expensive tool. This one's only about 30 or 40 Australian dollars, and it means, first of all, I just like the neatness of it. It's quite small and easy to manipulate. So, and I just hold onto the spring bars, hold them in position, and then I just slide the case over the top. And it goes on. Then I release with the little gizmo, And then the beauty of it is it's small enough to be, when, on the second stage, when you're attaching the second half of the bracelet, if you watch now, it's small enough to go underneath the bracelet. And normally the bracelet sort of curls over the top with those big spring bar pliers, and you've got to get them over the top, and there's a gap, and there's not enough gap to get you in, and God knows what else. So see how it's just under the bracelet? Very, very easy to use. I'm holding the spring bars in place, and now I'm going to take the case and slide it over the bracelet, and then release the tool. There you go. Now that looks a little bit fiddly, but trust me, it's a lot less fiddly than using the big spring bar pliers. So they are much more awkward to use, I promise you. And that's it really, the watch is done. Here's a shot of the watch. And I'll finish with some more shots of the watch and show you the clasp and things, see how it is. But I quite like the sort of sparkles on the dial on this watch. It's a bit different to the norm. And here's a shot with it in situ. For once I've got the camera focused nicely, so you can see what the watch is actually like. And here's a bit more of a close-up. There you go, I think it's not bad. There you go, there's a proper close-up. Yeah, I'm happy with this. Pretty sound watch. And it'll go to someone in the comments. So thanks very much for watching, everybody. And do check back for my replies in the comments and see who I give it to.